it has always been the case that when people come to this place, the first thing you see them do will be to recover their noses. But the truth is, no matter how bad the smell will be now, it's nowhere to be compared to what was happening then. Yeah? This was the largest of the dungeons for the women. They were talking of 100 to 150 at a time. On the floor, as hard as you could see, they were packed or sleeping. They were given food and water once, twice in a day, a very little just to keep them alive. A month or two, they were held in the air and mostly allowed out when the governor was going to pick one to be used. Over here also, they were not allowed to wash them. And women, some of them had to go through the menses and yet be sleeping in it. The hole there, among others, was for ventilation. Unfortunately, this was connected to a point they called magazine, where they kept ammunition or explosives. So whenever there was any leakage, the fumes came over and worsened a already bad situation. In here, 2 containers or receptacles were provided. One was placed at the various ends where they were expected to go to ease themselves or go to the toilet into them. But they talk about the fact that during the second month, they themselves became that weak, such that some, if not most, were unable to move from where they were to where the containers were to do it into them. So practically, they had everything on the floor and they were sleeping in it. And these, coupled with the heat and the stench, explains why they were dying. Of course, you would think, if the idea at the time was profit, then why let them die? It doesn't make sense. And when you go through for that answer, you normally come across 2 mostly repeated thoughts. That Africans were too strong to be controlled, so they wanted to be sure at all times were weak, they could not fight back. And to kind of justify that, they were also saying that only those who could survive these were the strong ones who could then work. So it became a kind of a natural process of eliminating the weak ones. Yeah. Recently, I took one of the respectable African-American pastors on a tour here. And he summed up the situation by saying that over here, they had to keep them physically weak so that it would be easy for them to be transported. But when they got to the other side, they had to keep them physically strong, but psychologically weak in order for them to be controlled.
Right.
And those that died in here were thrown into the sea. As we go, whenever you see opening like this, there was a door.
So this wasn't open before, it was like a caged up door. It's probably one of the ancestors of one of the cave beasts did that shit.
Was I there?
You look familiar.
I look familiar. Okay. New York University?
No, I was with NK, Northern Kentucky University.
Okay.
Dr. Washington, Mr. Asma.
Really? Okay. Okay. Now, when the ships had come, the women to go were led down this way to the room there, and from there to the last point, we call it the room of no return. So where they were given to the boats and were taken away. These baths were put there not long ago just to avoid accidents. Before we had stairs where they descended. But then now, because we are not using a water tank, we've made a drainage over here so that when it rains, water would collect in and then go away. We don't forget this. In those days, husbands and wives could be captured. During wars, entire family could be taken. Brought in here, they were separated. Women were up here, men were down there. All the time in the dungeons, they never saw each other. Most never saw each other again. That was the end of it. For some few, they could see themselves there when they were going, but sadly, they couldn't talk to each other. So they kept on crying and crying as they moved on. A child below 10, in most cases, was put together with an adult and sold together as a person. And those above 10 were sold as individuals. Over here, they never had a separate place where kids were kept. So it is accepted. Boys were put together with men. Girls were put together with the women. And you imagine a girl below 10 years in that field. Most died in here before the ships even came. Let's move on.